referring to God. Because in Kinyarwanda Kirundi, God is Imana. In Kinyarwanda Kirundi. So ye is referring to, just that letter ye, you understand it is referring to God. Shimiye is to thank. Kushima is to thank. So all these names are sentences collapsed in a name. Like Kabarebe. Kabarebe, his parents were quarreling with somebody else. Let them see. Ka, let them see. Kureva is to see. Kabarebe, them, the third party. So on behalf of the government of Uganda and the people of Uganda, I thank Your Excellencies for coming to have the meeting here and for designating us to be responsible for this mechanism for this year. It is part of the transition for Africa. Before colonialism, our kings made mistakes. They kept us divided with their shallow wars. That's how we were conquered by the foreigners. Because they were dividing us, the kings. A man called Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese, who came around South Africa, went to India. He got to the East African coast in 1498. And information was coming from the coast that new people are coming, new people with strong weapons are coming. But our kings here were not bothered. They couldn't unite us. They were busy fighting one another. You can imagine the Vasco da Gama passed by Tanzania, went to Mombasa. He didn't land in Tanzania, but went to Mombasa in 1498. 1498. But the first white man to come here was 1862. This is almost 400 years. Almost 400 years of hearing that the foreigners are coming, but not preparing. So this was the mistake of the chiefs, the kings. Then we were colonized. But Africans don't die. They are very strong. They don't die easily. Other people who are colonized, they perished. If you go to America, where the indigenous Indians, they are not there. There are very few. South America, the same. But here, we didn't die. We survived. Our genes, and our culture, because we had a culture of having cows and goats and chicken, and staying with us in our houses. So they were immunizing us. Our cows were immunizing us against the sicknesses. So when the Europeans came, we couldn't die. Slave trade, colonialism, but we survived. And we organized it. ANC was founded in 1912. They were the first modern organization of resistance. And we chased the invaders. But we still have these weaknesses, which really we should share. Frankly, when we have time, why do you believe in tribalism? Sectarianism of tribe, religion. How will you create prosperity for your people? If you look at the Americas, South America is very rich in terms of natural resources. They have got, I think they are even richer than the United States. They have big rivers there, the Amazon. They have big forests, minerals, agriculture. They have everything in South America, Latin America. But USA is more prosperous than South America. Why? If it is natural resources, South America should be more prosperous than the USA. But the difference, in my opinion, is the way the Americans organize themselves to form a big market. They united those colonies of the British, 13 of them initially, then they kept adding. Now they have got 50 states. Now, if you are in that situation, it is easy for you, if you are a wealth creator, you are a businessman. In New York, you produce something and it is sold all the way to California. It is much easier for you to succeed as a businessman. So therefore, really all these conflicts, when we meet, we talk about procedural things, this one here, but the big problem is ideology. These wars are caused by ideological limitation. So, my advice, because that's what was the problem of Uganda. Uganda was a failed state. People had no food. In 1986, people had no food. Shortages. No sugar, no soap, no salt, no paraffin in the shops. The problem was ideological. So we can talk about the mechanism, these procedural things, but we should also go deeper, in my opinion. And some of these foundations, like Mwalimu Nyerere Foundation, could be linked up with the secretariat of the ICAGR to do some analysis. It's not just diplomacy, it is really ideology. So I'm very glad that you came, and we have had this meeting. And I can firmly tell you that it is easy to solve this problem. Like, for instance, if the government of Congo and Rwanda could, the way we had started with the East African community, if they had stayed with us, together we would have solved this problem. But the East African effort was set aside. Because we have facts. Nobody can deceive me about any of these areas, because we know. But when you bring people who don't know, they just run with one little thing here. That's I don't have prepared speeches, but this is what I would want to comment to you. My closing comments. So let's wait for the communique. Where is it? You have got it now? Or praise be the Lord. Read it now.
Your Excellency, sir, now permit me to present the communique for the 12th high-level meeting of the Regional Oversight Mechanism of Peace, Security and Cooperation Framework for Democratic Republic of Congo and the region here at Entebbe, 28th May 2025. We, the heads of state and government of signatory countries of Peace, Security and Cooperation Framework for Democratic Republic of the Congo and the region, convened on the 12th high-level meeting for the regional oversight mechanism of peace and security framework on the 28th May 2025 at Entebbe, Uganda. The high-level meeting was chaired by His Excellency YOWERI Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, and brought together the heads of states and government, or their representatives of the following signatory countries of the PSC framework: Republic of Angola, Republic of Burundi, Central African Republic, Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Republic of Kenya, Republic of Rwanda, Republic of South Africa, Republic of Sudan, Republic of South Sudan, United Republic of Tanzania, Republic of Uganda, and Republic of Zambia. The representatives of the guarantor institutions of the PSC framework, namely African Union, International Conference on the Great Lakes Region, United Nations, also participated in this meeting as well as partners of the region as observers. The main purpose of the meeting was twofold: to discuss the recent developments in the Great Lakes region, particularly security and humanitarian issues, including ongoing peace efforts to address the crisis in Eastern DRC, with a view to identifying ways in which signatory countries of the PSC framework can support those efforts, and two, to adopt the action plan for revitalization of the PSC framework prepared by the Technical Support Committee and viewed by Ministers of Foreign Affairs of the signatory countries. We, the representative and signatory countries of PSC framework, by this communique, Your Excellency, Your Excellency, there are 30 paragraphs. We have deleted the other ones which we had provided, which were controversial. With your indulgence, I beg I don't go through the whole text, but refer to the 30 paragraphs with inclusion of only one, which was fresh and proposed by Republic of Angola, which is 30, finally agreed to meet again. 29. Recognize that there cannot be economic development in the region without peace, and stress the importance of peace and development nexus. Then the 30th finally agreed to meet again within 1 year in 2026 for further review of the implementation of the utilized PSC framework. The rest of the content remain as had been agreed upon and supplied to Your Excellencies.
Any comments? Adopté, and here ends the meeting. I declare the meeting closed. Thank you. Now, this is time for manger. And please don't leave my food. Thank you. Let's go for manger. Forces don't matter. We, the neighbors, don't matter. what matters are the foreigners who are supporting them. This really, you better focus on that. Because otherwise, why was Mobutu not listening? We were here, we could have helped him. So, that's how now the problem of Rwanda gets linked to the problem of Congo. When the Tutsis organized and attacked the Hutus in Goma, and then it led to the collapse of Mobutu. So that is this whole story. But it is solvable, because here in Uganda we solved it. We had the same problems. Sectarianism of religion, sectarianism of tribes. But we exposed that misanalysis. Why is identity important? More important than interests? His Excellency referred to it in his speech. Why don't you look at trade and exchange of goods and services and building the economies for the whole area instead of tribes, religion? So we had a long discussion when we were inside there. I want to congratulate again His Excellency for the good work he has done. You had the elaborate report he gave. We are now going to, we know what the problem is. This can be solved. All of them, we sit here, we can solve them. Because this is, we are ancient people of this area. We are not new arrivals. There's nothing we don't know about all these countries: Rwanda, Burundi, Eastern Congo, Tanzania, Kenya. These are our people. So therefore, let's really solve this problem. It is easy. In my opinion, these problems are easy to solve. They are not difficult. What is difficult is three mistakes: philosophy, ideology, strategy. Once you make mistakes on those three, then that's how a small problem becomes a big problem. So I thank everybody for coming, responding to our invitation, and I thank His Excellency and Aishimiye for shepherding this work in the last 2 years. So let's see what we are going to do in this phase, because we know what the problem is, and it can be solved. But we must have the political will, and the foreigners should limit their involvement, because the foreigners are the ones who carelessly embolden the mistake makers. Then the mistake makers think that we don't care about these internal groups, we don't care about the region. What is important is the external support. This is the problem I have seen here. I thank you, and let's now go for the next level.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your opening remarks. Your Excellency, this marks the open session. Now I'd like, with your permission, to propose a closed session.
Very good.
And a closed session, I'd like to request the fourth estate to kindly take leave. There's some room for you there. We shall again invite you at an appropriate time. Thank you.
department
son
of the
engagement
group of contact
et auprès des
and
groupes armés
coordination
étrangers
of non-military
en
measures
RDC,
was encouraged
en toute
to
transparence
follow up
avec le gouvernement
its
congolais.
commitment
Les résultats
as
de la
regards
mission
the
effectuée en
foreign
RDC
armed
en
groups in the
septembre
DRC
2024 par la
in all
cellule
transparency with the
opérationnelle du
Congolese
groupe de
government.
contact
The
et
results
de
of the mission
coordination,
effected in the DRC
un
in September
mécanisme de
2024
l'accord cadre
by the operational
sur
group
les
of
mesures
contact
non
and
militaires à
coordination,
l'est de la
the
RDC,
mechanism of
axé
the
sur le
agreement
désarmement en
and
vue
the
du rapatriement
non-limited
des anciens
measures in
combattants
the east of the
ont
DRC
été déterminants
focused on the
pour
disarmament in
l'organisation
order to
d'un
repatriate
atelier
the
technique
former
afin de permettre l'élaboration d'un cadre légal
war,
national pour la
warriors.
réintégration
And
des
this was
anciens
determined at the
combattants qui
organization
ont
of our
renoncé à la
technical
démocratie.
workshop to enable
Cet
putting in
atelier
place
a été
a
organisé
legal
en décembre 2024 à Bujumbura.
framework. That workshop was
processus
organized
de
in
mise
December
en place
2024
du cadre
in
légal
Bujumbura. The process
suit
putting in
son
place
cours.
a legal framework is in
Excellences,
place,
mesdames,
is
messieurs,
in underway.
je m'en
Excellencies,
voudrais si je
ladies and gentlemen,
je ne souligne
I
pas
cannot
le rôle
stop
joué
this
par les uns et
speech
les autres
without
dans la réussite
talking about the role played by
de la mission
the
qui
different
m'était assignée.
organs and different
Ainsi,
individuals
je me permets
in
de
so far
noter que ces
the
résultats ont été rendus possibles grâce notamment à une
success
collaboration
of the mission
étroite
that was
et
assigned.
productive
So I would
entre les
like to
services de
note that the
renseignement
results
burundais
were
et
made possible
congolais à l'appui
thanks
du bureau de l'envoyé
to the
spécial
collaboration
des Nations Unies pour la
between
région Balak,
the
ainsi
intelligence
que d'autres
systems of Burundi
partenaires
and
à
Congo
qui
with
j'adresse
support
mes sincères
of the
remerciements.
Office of the Special Envoy of the United
Excellences,
Nations.
mesdames,
Excellencies,
Je ne peux
ladies and gentlemen,
terminer
I
la
cannot stop my
présentation
speech
de ce rapport sans parler
on this
de la
report without
contribution
talking
du
about the contribution of Burundi
comme pays
as
signataire
a
dans
signatory
la mise en
country
œuvre
in the
des
implementation
principes
of
énoncés
the
dans
principles
la concorde.
put
D'abord,
forth
je
in
voudrais
the
d'abord
agreement.
rappeler
First
les
of all,
principes
I would like to
auxquels les
remind you
pays de la région
about the
se sont
principles which the
engagés.
countries
Il
got-
s'agit
committed themselves
de ne pas
That
s'ingérer
one,
dans les affaires
not
intérieures
to
des États voisins,
interfere
ne
in
pas tolérer
internal
ni
affairs
fournir
of
une assistance
of,
ou un soutien quelconque
other states,
à des groupes armés.
not tolerate
Il s'agit
or
aussi
giving
de
assistance to
respecter la
armed
souveraineté et
groups.
l'intégrité du territoire
Respect
des
sovereignty
États voisins,
and integrity
renforcer
of
la
neighboring
coopération
states,
régionale,
strengthen
y
regional
compris
cooperation,
à travers
including
l'approfondissement de
through
l'intégration
deepening
économique
economic
avec une
integration
attention
with
particulière
particular attention
accordée à la question de l'exploitation des
focused
ressources
on
naturelles.
the issue of
Il s'agit aussi de
natural
respecter
resource exploitation.
les préoccupations des
Respect
intérêts
the
légitimes
concerns
des
and
États voisins,
legitimate
en
interest of
particulier au
neighboring
sujet
states,
des questions
particularly as
de
regards
sécurité.
the question of security.
Il s'agit
Don't
aussi de ne pas
not
héberger
host
ni
and
fournir
offer any
une
protection
protection de quelque nature que ce
of
soit
whatever nature
aux personnes
to the
accusées
accused
de
people,
crimes de
people
guerre,
accused of
de
war
crimes
crimes,
contre l'humanité,
crime
d'actes de
against humanity,
génocide, ou
acts
de
of
crimes
genocide
d'agression,
and aggression
ou aux personnes
to
sous
people
régime de sanctions des Nations
under
Unies.
the regime or
Et
sanctions
enfin,
of the
il
nations.
s'agit
And
de
finally,
faciliter
G, facilitate administration of justice,
grâce à la
thanks
coopération
to
judiciaire
to
dans la sous-région.
legal justice
Excellences, mesdames,
in
messieurs,
in
ces
the
engagements nous
Ladies and
interpellent
gentlemen,
tous
these
aujourd'hui.
commitments call upon
Et le
us
Burundi
today,
les a
and
pris
Burundi took
comme
them
cheval de bataille.
very, very seriously.
En ce qui concerne
As
le
regards
Burundi,
Burundi,
il a déjà
she
pris
has
la
already
position
taken the
ferme et
firm
positive
position and position
de ne
of
jamais
never
être
to be
partie au
part
conflit,
of
mais
conflict,
plutôt
but
être
rather
partie
to be
à la
part of
solution.
the solution.
Le Burundi
Burundi
est
is
déterminé
determined
à
to
jouer
play
un rôle clé
a key
dans
role
la création
in the
de
creation
l'environnement
of
favorable pour
a
offrir
favorable
un
environment
espace
to
de paix
offer space of
permettant
peace,
à la région de s'épanouir
enabling
dans
the
la
region
tranquillité.
to flourish
Alors que
in
dans le passé,
tranquility.
le Burundi
Yet in the
était un
past,
fardeau
Burundi
pour l'Afrique et la
was
région,
uh,
il est devenu aujourd'hui un pays
a
stable
problem.
et réconcilié. La paix et la
Burundi was a
sécurité
burden.
règnent
Today
sur
it has
tout le territoire
become
national du
stable
Burundi
and
et
reconciled.
demeure une
Peace
priorité
and
du
security
gouvernement et
are
du peuple burundais,
today available
contribuant ainsi
in
au
Burundi,
mission
especially in
de
the
paix de la
national
région.
territory of Burundi,
Au
and
niveau
it's a
national
priority
toujours,
for government.
d'autres activités
At national
importantes
level,
en faveur de la paix et du
significant
développement
activities in
sont
favor of peace
réalisées,
and
y
development
compris l'encadrement
have already
de la
been
jeunesse
undertaken,
et le
especially
renforcement
by
du
orienting the
leadership
youth
féminin.
and strengthening
La
feminine
population
leadership.
burundaise s'apprête
The
à
Burundian
participer paisiblement aux
population
élections
is ready to participate
législatives
in
et communales le
peaceful
5 juin
legislative and
2025.
communal elections
À cet
to be
effet,
held on the 5th of
la
June
communauté
2025.
nationale et
This
internationale
effect, the
a été témoin le 9
international
mai
community
2025 du
and
lancement de
National
la
Committee,
campagne électorale au
who was
Burundi,
there
que j'ai
to look at
moi-même
this on 9th
lancé,
of May 2025,
cérémonie au
on
cours
the
de
launching
laquelle
of the electoral
les
campaigns in Burundi,
candidats des partis
which I launched
politiques se
myself.
sont
And
alignés
during that
comme les
ceremony,
équipes de haut championnat des Jeux
many
olympiques
candidates from
et ont
different
défilé
political
ensemble,
parties
mais dans la
were
main,
there together,
confiant
hand
en
in
ce
hand,
processus électoral
giving
financé
this
par les Burundais eux-mêmes.
po- po-
Ce
po-
signe traduit à
this
suffisance
process,
la maturité
due
démocratique de mon
position,
peuple et je
financed
peux
by
vous
Burundi
témoigner
itself.
avec assurance
This
que ces
sign
élections seront
tra-
démocratiques, libres,
translates the
transparentes
sufficiency of maturity
et apaisées
in our country.
pour dire que le
That is all to
Burundi
say that Burundi
crée des conditions favorables pour
has
la
put in
région,
place
pour la
favorable
stabilité
conditions
de
for
cette
stability in
région.
the region.
Au sujet de la
As
solidarité
regards
et
solidarity
des actions
and
humanitaires,
humanitarian
permettez-moi de
actions, allow me
souligner
to
qu'à la
underscore
suite de la guerre à
that
l'est de la
after
RDC,
the war
particulièrement
east
depuis le
of
début
the
de cette
DRC,
année
especially
2025,
at the beginning of
le
this war
Burundi a
2025, Burundi
fraternellement accueilli plus de 120
received
000
more than
réfugiés congolais.
120,000
À
refugees
ce
from
sujet,
Congo. On
le
this subject,
Burundi a
Burundi
besoin
needs
d'un appui multiforme
might
de ses
form
partenaires pour
support
accomplir
from its partners
davantage
to be able to
ces
accomplish
louables
better
actions
these
humanitaires.
humanitarian
Je
actions.
tiens aussi à
I would
remercier
wish
le
to thank
gouvernement
the
congolais
Congolese
à
government
travers le bureau
through
de la première dame congolaise
First
qui
Lady's
s'est joint
office,
au bureau de la première
which
dame
joined
du
the
Burundi
office of the
pour
First
venir
Lady
en
of
aide
Burundi
à cette
to
population
assist
réfugiée.
that refugee
Je
population.
remercie aussi
I thank also
les associations
local
locales
associations
et les confessions
and
religieuses
religious
burundaises pour leur
organizations,
compassion
Burundi, for their
qui se
compassion,
manifeste
which
par des
is
soutiens
manifested by
multiformes
through
aux
might
besoins des
form
réfugiés burundais.
support to the needs
Aussi
of
dans cette
refugees
logique
from Congo.
de
And
soutenir
in this
la
logic of
RDC
supporting the
pendant ce moment
DRC
de
during
crise,
this difficult
non
time,
seulement le
not
Burundi
only Burundi
accueille ses
receives
enfants de la
children
nation congolaise,
from
mais aussi
from
le
Congo,
Burundi
but
aide le
Burundi
gouvernement
also helps
congolais
the Congolese
à
government
secourir cette
in
population en détresse à
helping
l'intérieur
that
de son pays.
population in distress
Comme je viens de
within
le
the
dire,
country.
le
As
Burundi
I've just
offre
said,
un
Burundi
espace de paix aux
offers
voisins dans la
space
région.
of peace to the
Nous nous
neighbors in the
félicitons de
region.
la cohabitation
We-
pacifique avec les
we
États
commend
voisins,
the
même si
peaceful
nous ne pouvons pas
cohabitation
être
with
hypocrites en la matière.
neighboring
Il y
countries,
a un contentieux
though we
entre le
cannot
Burundi et le Rwanda.
be
Et le
hypocrite
Burundi est
that
déterminé
today
à
there
chercher
is
une
some
voie de
problem
sortie
between Burundi
par
and
le
Rwanda,
dialogue.
but Burundi
Nous
is
attendons
determined
avec
to look
patience et
for
beaucoup d'espoir
getting out
la
of this problem
manifestation de
through
bonne foi
dialogue, and
du
we
côté
are
du Rwanda
expecting
pour
patience
mettre
and out
fin
of
à ce
hope.
contentieux de façon pacifique. Pour nous,
For
nous
us,
croyons
we
en
believe
aucun cas
that in
que
no
le
way
conflit entre les États
conflict
peut
between
se résoudre
states
par
can
la guerre.
be
Nous
resolved by
devons
war.
privilégier
We must
cette voie de
favor
dialogue.
that
C'est
we must
ainsi
favor dialogue.
que même pour
That's
juguler
why
les causes profondes
that
du conflit en
even
RDC,
if you look at the
le
root
Burundi
causes
est
of
disposé à
conflict in
donner
Burundi,
sa
in the
contribution,
DRC, Burundi is
jouissant de
ready
son
to give its
expérience dans
contribution
la réconciliation nationale.
because it has got experience
Excellences, mesdames,
as
messieurs,
regards national reconciliation.
permettez-moi,
Excellency,
avant
ladies
que
and
je
gentlemen,
ne chemine vers la
allow
fin
me,
de mes propos,
as I go towards the end of
de
my
rappeler les
speech,
grandes
to
responsabilités
remind
qui nous incombent
the
tous et des
ourselves of
initiatives à
big responsibility
soutenir
we have
pour nous attaquer
and the initiatives
davantage
we must
aux
support
causes
so
profondes
that
des
we may
conflits dans la
fight
région.
the root causes
En
of
effet, Excellences,
the
mesdames,
conflict
messieurs,
in the region.
le conflit
In
en
fact,
RDC ne
ladies and
rend pas
gentlemen, the conflict in the
origine
DRC
dans les causes liées à la
does
frontière.
not have origin
La
in
RDC, le Rwanda, le
borders.
Burundi
the
partagent
DRC,
une
the Rwanda
histoire
and Burundi
harmonieuse
share
depuis la
harmonious
colonisation.
history since colonization. In fact,
Pendant la
during
colonisation,
colonization,
Bujumbura était la
Belgian
capitale
colonization,
de la
Burundi was the
région,
capital of the region,
comprenant le district de Kivu ayant comme capitale Goma,
including the
tandis
district
que
of
le
Kivu
royaume du
and the
Rwanda
capital
et
of
du
Goma.
Burundi
Yet,
avaient
the capital of
respectivement
Rwanda
la
and
capitale
Burundi
Kigali et
had
Gitega.
the capital
Et trois
Kigali
entités
and Gitega. The three
cohabitaient
entities
pacifiquement
were
et vivaient en
peacefully living
symbiose
together in
comme
symbiosis,
dans un État fédéral.
like in a
Après
federated state.
l'indépendance,
After
il
independence,
a été créé une communauté économique des États, des pays
an economic
du Grand
community
Lac,
of
CPG, avec comme
Great Lakes
capitale
region was
Gisenyi
created,
au
and
Rwanda.
the capital was Gisenyi.
Son
Is
objectif
Gisenyi in
était
Rwanda.
de
Its objective
promouvoir
was to promote
l'intégration économique et
economic
régionale
regional and
entre
economic
ses membres
integration
en
between its
favorisant la
members
libre
by
circulation des personnes,
promoting
des biens et des
free
capitaux,
circulation of
ainsi
persons,
que la sécurité
goods,
régionale.
and capital, as
Déjà
well as
avant
regional security.
l'indépendance, en
Already before
1958,
independence in 1958,
nous avions
we had
déjà
already
en commun une
a
centrale
central
hydroélectrique
hydroelectric
sur la
network,
rivière Rusizi qui
hydroelectric
nous sépare.
network on
En
River
ce
Ruzizi,
moment, nous
which
menons
separates us.
ensemble un
Today,
troisième
we are
projet
undertaking
de
together
construction
a third
de la
project
centrale
of construction
hydroélectrique
of
sur cette même
hydroelectric
rivière.
dam
Ceci
on
pour
this
vous dire que
same
cette
river. That
sous-région
should tell you that
a un
this sub-region
cordon historique
has got
qui unit ces
some
États
historical
membres.
link
Il est alors
which unites
possible
its member states.
de
It's
creuser
possible,
en
therefore,
profondeur
to
pour mettre en évidence
do
les
all
racines
possible
réelles de
to
ce
put
conflit
in
et
evidence
les résoudre.
the conflict of this
En effet,
conflict and resolve
ce
it.
conflit ne
But this
prend
conflict
réellement son origine
does not have its
que dans la
origin.
conséquence
It
du
has its
génocide
origin
rwandais.
in the
Quand la
consequence of
population
genocide
a
in Rwanda
pris la
because the
voie de
population
l'exil
took
et que le
the
gouvernement
path
du
of
Rwanda
exile,
a pris la
and the,
décision de les
the
poursuivre
Rwandan government
sur
took
le
the
sol
measure of
congolais.
following them on
Depuis lors,
Congolese
la
territory.
RDC
Since
n'a
then,
jamais
the DRC
retrouvé
never
paix.
had peace
Car cette poursuite
because that
était non seulement
those pursuits
la
were
conséquence
not
de la
only
destruction
a
totale de
consequence of
l'armée rwandaise
total destruction
de
of
l'époque,
the Rwandan army
mais
of that
aussi
time, but
elle a
also
abouti à la
led to the,
destruction encore
to
totale de
the
l'armée
total
zaïroise,
destruction of the
causant
Zaira's army,
ainsi la
causing,
prolifération
therefore,
des armes dans les
proliferation of
milieux
arms
civils congolais.
in civil
Et cela a été l'occasion pour
among
les criminels de la
civilians.
région de se procurer
And
des
this was
armes et
this enabled the
d'occuper cette
criminals to
partie
have
du territoire
arms
qui
and
est
therefore
entre l'Ouganda, le Rwanda et le Burundi.
cause trouble
Ainsi,
in
pour
the
résoudre
territory
les deux
between Uganda, Rwanda, and
problèmes
Burundi.
de ce problème,
And in order to
il
resolve
faut
this problem,
s'attaquer
we must,
par deux
first of all,
le côté
tackle
interne à
it
la
from two
RDC
angles.
et le
That's the
côté
internal side of the
interétat.
DRC and
Pour
the
le volet de la
interstate
sécurité
side. As
régionale,
regards
nous
regional
devons
security, we must
tous nous
all
convenir
agree to
pour
disarm
désarmer ou mettre hors d'état de
Or,
nuire tous les groupes armés étrangers qui se trouvent
this,
sur le sol congolais et nous
try
engager
to these
conformément
armed
aux
groups
principes énoncés au point
from
5
outside,
de l'accord
which are
cadre
found on the
de
Congolese
ne pas tolérer
soil.
ni
We should not
fournir
tolerate
une
or
assistance
even
ou
give
un
an
soutien
assistance
quelconque à
or
des
any
groupes
assistance of
armés.
any type
Ensuite,
to these
entamer
armed
des
groups.
questions
We should
d'intérêt
start
commun
on
liées à la vie de
issues
notre
of
peuple.
common interest related
Dans
to the
ce
life
sens,
of our respective
Il y aura
peoples.
plus
In that way, there will be more,
il n'y aura
there will
plus
not be
ce
any more
climat de
this
suspicion
climate of
entre
suspicion
nos États.
between our states.
Ce sera plutôt
It will be
une occasion
rather
aussi de revitaliser
revitalizing
la CPGL.
the
C'est le cessez-le-feu.
agreement.
En ce qui concerne
As
le volet
regards
sécurité
internal
interne
security
en RDC,
in the DRC,
l'action concrète
the
consistera
concrete action
d'abord
will
à
first of all
garantir la sécurité de tous
to guarantee
les
security
citoyens
of all
Et cela
citizens of Congo. And
à
this
faire le cessez-le-feu
should
et le
first pass by
désengagement des
the
forces.
ceasefire
Désarmer tous les groupes
and disarm
et civils
all
armés
the
et
groups,
entamer
armed
le
groups,
processus de
and start
dialogue
on
inclusif
that
pour
inclusive
aboutir à la
dialogue
définition
in
d'un
order
avenir commun
to
à tous les Congolais.
lead to
Il
common
faudra
future.
surtout se focaliser
We should
sur les
focus
bases de la
on the
stabilité
basis of
intérieure des États
internal basis,
qui sont
internal
notamment
stability of the
le
states,
renforcement de la bonne
which
gouvernance,
requires
la
us to
démocratie,
strengthen
de la lutte
good
contre la
governance,
corruption,
democracy,
l'exploitation
fighting
illicite
corruption,
des ressources
and
naturelles,
illegal
la
exploitation
résolution
of
du
natural
problème des
resources,
réfugiés, et
resolution
le chômage,
of refugee
etc.
problems, unemployment, and so on and so forth.
Pour
Excellencies,
stabiliser
ladies and
nos
gentlemen,
pays
in order to
et
stabilize
nos
our
États,
countries and our
nous
states,
devons
we must
capitaliser les
capitalize
atouts immenses
on the assets,
et
the big
notre
assets,
richesse
and our
humaine dont les femmes
human
et les jeunes
wealth,
occupent
of whom
une place de
in which you
choix
have women
pour la paix,
and
la
the youth,
sécurité et le développement.
especially as
Mais
regards peace,
toujours,
security, and development.
l'adéquation
But
paix et
always,
développement qui
peace
sont
and development,
entièrement
which go together,
liés, doivent demeurer une
must
priorité.
be a priority to
C'est
us.
ainsi que
That's
notre
why
proposition
our
de plan de
proposal
paix
of a
pour
peace
l'Est de la
plan
RDC
for the east of the DRC,
insiste sur
insisting
le
on
démantèlement
dismantling
des forces
the
négatives
negative
étrangères
forces,
sur le sol
foreign negative
congolais
forces on the
et la création
Congo
d'un
soil,
climat de
and creation
confiance entre
of
les États
a trust climate
reste
between states
le couplet
is
et le refrain
the
de notre
refrain
musique.
of our music.
Excellence,
Excellencies,
Monsieur le Président de la
Minister,
République de l'Ouganda,
President
Excellences,
of
Mesdames,
Uganda,
Messieurs.
Excellencies,
Avant de
ladies and
clore
gentlemen,
mon allocution,
before stopping my
je
speech,
voudrais
ending my speech,
souligner
I would wish
que
to
je
underscore the
laisse
fact that
à mon successeur
I leave my
un dossier
successor
important,
a very important
celui
case,
de
a
poursuivre
very important file,
la
that is
revitalisation de cet accord cadre
pursuing
pour la paix,
revitalization
la
of this
sécurité et la
agreement for
coopération
peace, security,
pour la
and
RDC
cooperation
et
for
la
the
région.
RC and the region.
L'accord
The
cadre
framework
revitalisé
agreement, which is
sera un outil
revitalized, will be
essentiel
a
et jouera
very important
un
tool
rôle
and
crucial
will play a
pour
crucial
asseoir
role
une paix
in order
et un
to bring about
développement
peace
durable
and
en RDC
sustainable
et dans la
peace
région.
in the DRC and in the
Enfin,
region.
malgré
Finally,
les défis,
despite the
notre
challenges,
volonté
our
commune,
common will,
la bonne coordination
good
des
coordination
différentes
of the different
initiatives
initiatives
pour la paix et le
for peace
développement,
development,
le
the
respect des prescrits
respect
des instruments internationaux dans la
as
Charte des
provided
Nations
for
Unies et
international
la Charte de
instruments
l'Union
in the
africaine.
Charter of United Nations and
L'intégration
the
et
Charter of
la
African Union.
solidarité
Integration
régionale
and regional
nous
solidarity
permettront
will
de
enable
relever
us
les défis
to,
et transformer la région des Grands Lacs
to surmount
à
the
havre de
challenges
paix
and
et
transform
de
the region
développement,
of the Great
car
Lakes
ensemble tout est
in a
possible.
heaven of peace
C'est
development
sûr,
because
c'est une note
together
d'espoir
it's possible.
que je
It's
continue
on
mes
this
propos,
hope that
tout en
in closing
formulant
my speech,
plein
by
succès à mon successeur,
wishing
Son
success,
Excellence
my
Yoweri
successor,
Kaguta Museveni,
His Excellency,
à la nouvelle
Mr. Yoweri
présidence
Kaguta
du
Museveni,
mécanisme
to the new
de
president
suivi de la
of the
mise en œuvre de
mechanism
l'accord cadre
of the ROM
qu'il
and
avait
of
par
the
ailleurs
agreement,
assuré
which
à l'occasion du
he had
9e
assured
sommet
during the
tenu en
9th
octobre
summit held
2018
in
à
October
Kampala, en
2018
Ouganda.
in Kampala in Uganda.
Je vous assure,
I assure you,
cher grand frère
dear
président Museveni,
big brother,
de mon
President
soutien
Museveni, of my
et
support
de mon
and my
encouragement
encouragement
dans l'accomplissement
in
de vos
accomplishing
fonctions
your
à la
functions,
présidence
the
de ce
responsibilities
mécanisme.
as chair of
Que
this
vive la
mechanism.
paix, la
Long live
sécurité,
peace,
la
long live
solidarité
security,
et le
solidarity
développement
and
de la région
development
des Grands Lacs.
in the Great Lakes
Que Dieu
region.
vous bénisse.
God
Je
bless
vous
you.
remercie.
I thank you.
Asante ni sana.
Asante ni sana.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President Daisimiye. Your Excellency, I would now like to request you, Your Excellencies, to perform a formal ceremony that marks the official transfer of chairmanship of Rome mechanism from Republic of Burundi to Republic of Uganda. Your Excellency, it's now my singular honor and pleasure
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
to invite you in your capacity as incoming chair of the Rome mechanism of peace, security and cooperation framework of the DRC and the region to deliver your remarks, Your Excellency.
His Excellency Ndaishimie, President of the Republic of Burundi, the Special Envoy of the Secretary General, the Vice Presidents who are here, Vice President of Sudan, Khartoum, Vice President of South Sudan, the heads of delegations, members of the diplomatic corps, and all the people who are here. I want to thank and congratulate His Excellency Ndaishimie for the wonderful work he has been doing for the last 2 years, as you heard. You heard his exhaustive speech talking about this problem of Congo, but in many ways, that problem of Congo has been similar to other problems in Africa since independence. We had a long discussion inside among ourselves, and I was telling their excellencies that I had been watching the situation in Africa as a close observer and also a participant for the last 65 years. When this problem of Congo started, we were watching. It was like live on TV. They had elections in 1960, and there were two camps. One camp was of parties which were sectarian, based on ethnicity. The Bakongo, Chombe of Katanga, and so on. Lumumba had a party called MNC, which was a party of unity. You could call it a patriotic party. He won the election, but he was killed. He was killed. And from that time, Congo has never been stable. There was a huge rebellion by people called Simba. These were peasants who were supporting Lumumba. They were not well organized, but you could see they were popular and very angry, but also not disorganized, believing in witchcraft and so on. The problems went on. When Mobutu came into power, the internal problems of Congo continued, off and on. Katanga, then the rebellions of 1978, somebody called Nathaniel Mbumba. Now, the problems were, you could see, we who were watching, you could see that the problems were really two. Not listening to the populations, of Congo. The government which was there was not listening to those people. But also depending on external support, military support. When Mobutu came in, he was being supported by the UN forces. Then the French, Giscard d'Estaing sent French army there. Then Morocco, and so on and so on. So those two parts. Listening to the local people, but depending on external support. As long as I have external support, I don't care about the internal. That was, of course, was not only in Congo, even here, that was the problem. In Uganda, that's why Uganda had become a failed state. And in Sudan, that was the problem. Khartoum was not. So it was a big problem of politics of identity, tribes, religion, not listening to the nationals and depending on external support. Now, His Excellency referred to it, the new dimension, and also not caring about the neighbors. Mobutu never cared about the internal people of Congo, nor did he care about us. He didn't care. And he was supporting groups against Angola, Savimbi, Holden Roberto. They were in Congo against Angola, against our people. Because at that time, we had an anti-colonial effort. But Mobutu was the other side. So don't listen to the internal, don't listen to the neighbors, and depend on external support. Now the collapse of Mobutu came. Meanwhile, in Rwanda, Burundi, there were now another problem. The problem of ethnicity, which had come up towards the independence of Burundi and Rwanda. The conflict between Hutu Tutsi, which had resulted in the massacre of the Tutsis in Rwanda in 1959. That massacre of the Tutsis generated a Tutsi diaspora. That's how these people like Prince Kagame, they were here, came here as young children. I think Kabarebe must have been born here. That big minister. That big minister Kabarebe was born here, in exile. In Burundi, the crisis was postponed because there were patriotic leaders with a movement called UPRONA, led by Prince Rui Rwagasore. They kept the Burundi people united, so they didn't have the crisis or the same problem. But Rwagasore was killed. Rwagasore was killed. Lumumba was killed. Rwagasore was killed. You say Mure, Français killing you. What is killing? Assassinate, but they are there to murder, to kill. Mure, to kill. We had said the word inside there, I forgot. To kill, to die. So, Rwagasore was killed by a white priest. He's a deputy. Rwagasore was a Tutsi and a prince. He was a prince. He's the deputy. Njanandumwe was a Hutu. Was killed also. So UPRONA was beheaded, decapitated. I also have some few French words. Decapité. So now some other people who were confused, Michombero, came in 1965, 66, Michombero. What you people, you call it history, I call current affairs, because all these were, I was watching. So Michombero came in now, he said now, for the Tutsis to survive in Burundi, they must kill the Hutus and they must monopolize power forever for their security. So that's how now the problem of Burundi now also became more or less like Rwanda, especially in 1972. That's what the worst. Now, the Tutsi diaspora from Rwanda who ran away went to Uganda, Congo, Tanzania, there were very many there, organized. And we tried to negotiate with Habyarimana. Habyarimana, please let these people go back to their country. Habyarimana said, no, there's no space for them. Rwanda is too squeezed. So these fellows, impatient, they organized. His Excellency referred to it here. They attacked Rwanda. We tried to negotiate to have a peace. But now, Mobutu intervenes now in Rwanda now to support Habyarimana, to support the Hutu extremists. That's how now the problem of, His Excellency referred to it, that's the problem of Congo now, which had its own internal problems, is now linked with the problem of Rwanda. Mobutu Mobutu's army was defeated in Rwanda, and together with Habyarimana, as His Excellency said, the army of Habyarimana was destroyed. Then they fled into Goma. We appealed to Mobutu to disarm them. We wouldn't listen. Because he thinks the internal
representatives as well as community leaders to support the mediation through the Luanda Nairobi processes by enhancing regional solidarity and participation of women in order to put an end to wars in this Great Lakes region. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, what should we look forward to in trying to revitalize the framework agreement processes? It is important to consolidate the regional prevention mechanisms as well as those for prevention of all conflicts by putting all our efforts, and in that regard the African Union efforts for revitalization involve alignment of African Union initiatives with other regional and international initiatives, especially those that are being undertaken by Qatar as well as the United States of America in a more unified framework. It is an opportunity for us to mobilize the necessary resources for us to reach the results we are looking for. In conclusion, we should be more determined. We should show more solidarity, because by taking concrete diplomatic engagements and honoring them, sustainable peace in the Great Lakes region will require that, and will require, of course, reconciliation, development, and those joint efforts. And together we can overcome these challenges for the good of the people of the region and for the stability of the entire continent. I will conclude by communicating my wishes that we have fruitful deliberations, and I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, African Union. Your Excellency, with the permission, may I now invite His Excellency Huang Jia, the United Nations Secretary General Special Representative of the Great Lakes region, to deliver his opening remarks on behalf of the United Nations Secretary General as a representative of one of the guarantor institutions of Peace, Security, Cooperation Framework on DRC and the region.
Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République du Burundi, Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République Ouganda, avec votre aimable permission, je vais vous livrer les remarques
Like to
de Monsieur
present
Antonio
you the
Guterres,
remarks made by
secrétaire général des Nations
the
Unies,
Secretary of the United Nations
à l'occasion
Antonio
de
Guterres
la 12e réunion de haut niveau
during this 12th
des
high-level
mécanismes
meeting
régionaux
on the
de
regional
suivi
oversight
de l'accord
mechanism
cadre.
of the Peace, Security and Cooperation Framework.
Comme
The
suit.
remarks are as follows.
Excellence, Monsieur,
Excellency, Your
Mesdames et
Excellency,
Messieurs les chefs
ladies
d'État et de gouvernement,
and gentlemen, heads of
Monsieur
government
le
and heads
Président
of
de la
state,
Commission de l'Union africaine,
the chair of the African
Mesdames
Union
et
Commission,
Messieurs, en vos
ladies
titres
and gentlemen,
respectifs,
in your different
je
various
tiens à
capacities,
remercier
I would wish to
Son
thank
Excellence
His
Monsieur
Excellency,
YOWERI
Mr.
Kaguta
YOWERI Kaguta
Museveni,
Museveni,
Président de la République
the
d'Ouganda,
President of the Republic of
pour
Uganda,
avoir une fois
for
encore
having once
accepté
again accepted
d'accueillir
to
cette
host
importante réunion
this
de haut
very
niveau
important
du
high-level
mécanisme
meeting
régional de
on
suivi
the
de
role
l'accord cadre pour la paix,
and
la sécurité et la coopération
framework
en
agreement for
République
peace, security and
démocratique
cooperation
du Congo
on
et la région.
the DRC and the whole
Cela
region.
illustre
That illustrates
l'engagement
the
résolu
commitment, the
de
resolute,
l'Ouganda en
resolute
faveur du
commitment of
dialogue,
Uganda towards
de la
dialogue,
coopération et
cooperation,
d'une paix
and
durable dans cette région.
sustainable peace in this region.
Je souhaite
I would
également
wish
saluer les
to
leaders
commend
et
leaders
leurs délégations
and their
ici
delegations
présents.
present here.
Votre participation
Your
à cette
participation
rencontre
to this meeting
traduit une volonté collective
indicates the
de
collective will
revitaliser
to
l'accord cadre
revitalize the
et plus
framework
encore
agreement
de construire ensemble
mostly to
des
construct
solutions
together
durables
sustainable
aux crises
solutions
multiples qui
to the
continuent
multitude of
d'affecter la région
crises that
centrale.
are continuing to affect
En
the
effet,
Great Lakes region.
malgré l'immense
In effect,
potentiel économique
despite
de la
the
région,
big
les
economic potential
populations
of
de
the
la
region,
région vivent
the peoples of
de
the
nouveau
population
une crise
lives
terrible.
through a terrible crisis.
La résurgence du 1-23 en novembre
M23
2021 a ouvert un nouveau
attacks
cycle de conflits
opened a new
violents
cycle
dans
of
l'est de
violent
la
conflict in
RDC
the east of
qui
the
a
DRC,
conduit l'occupation
led
illégale
to the
d'une
illegal
large
occupation
partie
of a very big
du
part
territoire du Nord
of
Kivu,
of
puis
North
du
Kivu,
Sud Kivu.
then later of
Cette
South Kivu.
situation a conduit
This
à la
situation
détérioration
to the
des relations
deterioration of
encore
relations
entre plusieurs États de la région
between different
au
states
point
of
de
the region,
soulever
up to
le risque d'un
bring
embrasement
up a
régional.
risk of regional
La situation
agitation.
humanitaire
The
est
human
également devenue
situation
alarmante.
has also become alarming.
Des violations des droits de l'homme,
Violation
notamment
of
à
human
Goma
rights,
et à Bukavu,
particularly
actuellement
in Goma and
sous
Bukavu,
contrôle du M23,
under
sont
control
signalées
of
quotidiennement,
M23.
entraînant d'immenses
This brings
souffrances
about a
humaines.
lot of suffering to the
Des centaines de
populations.
milliers de personnes ont
Hundreds of
été
thousands of
déplacées
people
de force.
displaced.
Chaque jour, des
Every
femmes et des
day,
enfants
women and
sont
children
victimes
are
de
victims
violences
of
sexuelles.
sexual violence.
Ce soir encore,
This evening,
de nombreux enfants
many children
privés d'éducation
denied
dormiront le
education
ventre vide, tandis
with
que
an
leurs
empty
parents,
stomach,
déracinés
and
de leur
their
foyer
parents
et de leur communauté
are
d'origine,
derooted
peinent
from
à
their
assurer
homes.
leur
So they have got
subsistance.
out of trouble in ensuring the survival
Excellences,
of these
mesdames et
children.
messieurs, distingués
Excellencies,
invités,
ladies
cette
and gentlemen,
situation doit
distinguished
cesser.
guests,
J'implore ainsi
I
votre engagement
would
collectif
like to call upon
pour obtenir un
collective
cessez-le-feu
commitment
immédiat
so that we may
entre les parties
obtain
au
immediate
conflit
ceasefire
afin de
between
permettre
the
l'acheminement
parties
de
at
l'aide
war, so
humanitaire
that we
aux
may be
populations
able to
affectées
deliver
et rétablir
human,
la confiance
humanitarian
pour donner
relief
une chance
to
aux négociations.
the people in that area, and that will give chance to
J'appelle
negotiations
également
towards peace.
à la mise en
I
œuvre
would like to
intégrale
call up
des dispositions de la
for
résolution 2773
following
du
the
Conseil de sécurité
disposal of
qui devrait constituer notre boussole
provisions of the
commune
resolution
afin de
2773
sortir
of
de
2025
cette crise
of the
qui n'a que trop duré.
Security Council, which should
Je saisis cette occasion pour
constitute
saluer la
our
mobilisation
guidelines
continue
in order to
des
get out of this crisis.
organisations
I would like to take this
multilatérales
occasion
africaines
to
illustrées
commend
notamment
the mobilization,
par la
continued mobilization
du président
of multilateral
Nassimé
organizations in
Togo
Africa,
en tant
illustrated
que
by
médiateur de
the
l'Union
nomination of
africaine
President Faure
pour la crise
Yassib of
entre
Togo
la
as
RDC
mediator
et
of
le
the African
Rwanda,
Union for the
ainsi que
crisis between
l'initiative
the DRC and
conjointe
Rwanda,
de la
as well as
communauté
the
d'Afrique de
joint
l'Est
initiative of
et de la communauté de développement
the,
d'Afrique australe
the East African
qui a
Community
nommé
and
un collège
SADC,
de facilitateurs
which
comprenant
appointed
deux
a college of
figures
facilitators,
féminines remarquables.
including two
À cet égard, je tiens
remarkable
à
ladies.
exprimer ma gratitude
In this regard, I
au
would like to
président
express
João
my
Lourenço,
thanks and gratitude to
président
President
en exercice
Jean
de l'Union
Lorenzo,
africaine,
who is
pour
the
son
President Chair of the
leadership
African Union,
et
for
le travail
his leadership
substantiel
and substantial
accompli
work
dans le
accomplished
cadre du
during the
processus
framework of
Rwanda,
the
dont
process
les
of
gains
Rwanda,
devront être
whose
préservés,
gains must be
permettant
preserved,
de fournir
enabling us to
une base solide de
put
travail
in place
au
a
nouveau
solid base
médiateur.
for the work
De même,
of the new mediator. In the
signature
same way,
le
the signature
25
the
avril
25th
dernier
last
déclaration
25th
de
April
principe
of
entre
a
la RDC
principle
et le Rwanda
of
sous
declaration
la
principle
facilitation
between the
des
DRC and
États-Unis
Rwanda
d'Amérique,
on the facilitation of
ainsi que
under the
l'adoption
facilitation of
d'une
the United
déclaration
States,
conjointe
as
entre
well
la
as the adoption
RDC
of
et
a
le
joint
23
declaration between the
sous
DRC
l'égide
and M23
de l'État
with
du Qatar
under the
représente
aegis
pas
of the state of
encourageant.
Qatar represents
Ces initiatives
encouraging
sont les
steps.
bienvenues
These
car
initiatives are so welcome
elles viennent
because
renforcer
they come to
et
strengthen
compléter les
and
efforts
supplement
africains
the African
sous
efforts
la houlette
under
du
the
médiateur de l'Union
mediation
africaine.
of the African Union.
Cependant,
However,
pour parvenir
in
à
order
une
to
synergie d'action
succeed,
cohérente,
to have in
il
place
est important
coherent
de bien
actions of
articuler
synergy,
et de
it's
coordonner
important
les
to articulate and coordinate the
différentes
different initiatives,
diplomatiques
diplomatic
en cours.
initiatives which are underway.
Je félicite et
I would wish
remercie
to commend and
à cet
thank
égard
in this
le
regard
président
President
Nassibé
Nyasimbe for
le
organizing
17 mai
the
à Lomé
17th,
une réunion de
17th
concertation
May in
avec
Lomé,
le panel
a
de facilitateurs
consultative meeting
et des
with the panel of
représentants de la
facilitators
Commission
and
de
representatives
l'Union africaine,
of the African
des
Union
Nations
Commission,
Unies,
United
ainsi que
Nations,
des
as well as
États-Unis
the United
d'Amérique.
States of America.
Excellences, Mesdames et
Excellencies,
Messieurs, il
ladies
y a
and
12 ans,
gentlemen, 12 years
la
ago,
signature de l'accord
the
cadre
signature
d'Addis
of
Abeba
the
a
framework
posé
agreement of Addis
les
Ababa
fondations
put in place
d'une approche
the basis
collaborative
for a
pour
collaborative
rompre
approach in
définitivement
order to put an end
avec les cycles
the
de conflits
conflict
récurrents.
cycles which
À
are
cet
recurrent.
effet,
To
la
this effect,
revitalisation
the
de cet accord
revitalization of
cadre
this
est
framework agreement
impérative
is imperative not
non
only
seulement pour s'adapter aux
to
enjeux
adapt it to
et
the
défis
stakes
actuels, mais
and
aussi pour
the
trouver
present
des
challenges,
solutions
but also
pour
to make us
renforcer
find
la mise en
solutions
œuvre
so that we
de
may
certains
strengthen
engagements.
the implementation of certain
Les Nations
commitments.
Unies,
The United
à
Nations,
travers le bureau
through
de
the
l'envoyé
office
spécial
of
pour
the
la région du
special
Grand Lac,
envoy of the Great Lakes
reste
region, to the
mobilisé
Great Lakes region,
pour accompagner
is
les pays de la
mobilized
région des Grands Lacs
and is
sur le
available
chemin de la
to
paix,
assist
du développement
the countries of
durable,
the Great
de la
Lakes region
prospérité
on the path
partagée.
for peace,
J'en appelle
sustainable
à votre
development,
autorité,
and
votre
prosperity.
sens
I call upon
des
you. I call
responsabilités
upon your authority
en tant que leader de la
and your
région
sense of responsibility
pour
as
rompre
leaders of the region
définitivement
to put
le
definitely
cycle
an end to
de
the
l'instabilité.
cycle of instability
Cela exige
that requires
un engagement
commitment
sans faille
without
en
fail
faveur de solutions
in favor of
politiques
political
viables,
solutions,
une
viable
volonté
political
résolue
solutions,
de
resolute
privilégier
will
le dialogue,
to favor
ainsi qu'une
dialogue
véritable
as well as
disposition au compromis.
availability
Dans
to
un espace
compromise.
où les
In a
communautés
space where
sont
communities
profondément
are deeply
interconnectées
interconnected
au-delà des frontières,
beyond borders,
seule une approche
only
fondée
an
sur
approach
la
founded
coopération
on
et
cooperation
l'intégration
and integration will enable us
de jouer
to
les bases
put in place
d'une paix
the
durable,
basis for
d'un développement
sustainable
partagé
peace,
et
shared development,
prospérité
and
collective.
collective
Je
prosperity.
vous remercie.
I thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, with your permission, permit me now to invite His Excellency, Reverend Ndayishimiye, President of the Republic of Burundi, to deliver his statement in his capacity as outgoing chair of the Regional Oversight Mechanism of Peace, Security, Cooperation Frameworks. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Excellence, Monsieur
Excellencies,
YOWERI Kaguta
Mr. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and the new chair of Rome and of the framework agreement. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the high representatives of the heads of state and heads of delegations, excellencies, representative of the Secretary General of the UN, Excellence, Executive Secretary of ICGLR, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed.
Qu'il me soit permis de commencer
I'd wish to start
rendre grâce
by
à Dieu Tout-Puissant
thanking
qui nous
the
a
Almighty
permis
God
de
who
nous
enabled us
réunir
to meet here
dans cette belle ville
in this
de
very
Entebbe.
good, very nice
Qu'il
city,
continue à nous
beautiful city
guider
of Entebbe.
durant les
He should
travaux
continue
de
to guide
ce
us during
12e
the
sommet
deliberation of this 12th
régional,
summit of the
le
region,
suivi d'accords cadres d'Addis Abeba pour la paix,
the
la
regional
sécurité et la coopération
mechanism
pour la
and,
RDC
and
et la
the
région.
framework agreement
dont je salue
of Addis Ababa for peace,
l'excellente
security and
organisation.
cooperation
Je
for the
remercie
DRC and the
particulièrement
region. I would wish to
notre
thank
musée,
particularly
le président
our
YOWERI Kaguta
Musée,
Museveni, pour
President Yoweri
l'accueil
Kaguta Museveni,
fraternel
for
et
the
chaleureux,
warm welcome
ainsi que l'hospitalité
as well as the
légendaire
hospitality,
qui nous
legendary
a
hospitality that
été réservée
he accorded to
depuis
us
notre
since
arrivée
our
dans
arrival
cette belle
in
ville
this belle,
de Entebbe,
in this
la
nice,
République
beautiful
de
city of
l'Ouganda,
Entebbe, in the
la perle
Republic
de
of
l'Afrique.
Uganda, the pearl of
Je
Africa.
voudrais par cette
I'd wish
même occasion
Take this opportunity
transmettre
to
à
to
travers vos excellences
transmit
les
through your
sincères et
excellencies
amicales
the sincere
salutations
and
du peuple
friendly
au
greetings
peuple
from the people of
ougandais,
Burundi to the people of
ainsi qu'aux
Uganda,
peuples
as well as to the
respectifs des
respective
pays
peoples
signataires
of
de l'accord
the
cadre.
signatory countries
Excellences,
of the framework
Mesdames,
agreement.
Messieurs,
Excellencies, ladies and
12
gentlemen,
ans se sont
12
écoulés
years
après la
passed
signature
after the signature
de
of the framework agreement
intervenue le 24 février
undertaken the
2013
24th
en
of February
Addis Abeba.
2013 in Addis Ababa.
Cet accord
This
a
agreement
l'objectif principal
has
de mettre
the main
fin
objective of
aux
putting an end
conflits
to
armés
armed
dans
conflict
l'est de la
in the east of the
RDC
DRC
et de
and
résoudre
resolve
les causes profondes de la
causes
violence
of
et
violence
des guerres
and
répétitives
repetitive
dans la
wars
région.
in the region.
Il vise
It's
aussi
also
à
intended to
établir
establish
une
sustainable
paix
peace,
durable, à
to
renforcer
strengthen
la sécurité
security and
et
to
à
promote
favoriser la coopération
regional
régionale
cooperation for
pour la
peace
paix et le
and
développement
sustainable
durable.
development.
Depuis sa
Since the
signature en
signature,
2013,
its
et
signature in 2013,
particulièrement
and
depuis
particularly since
le dernier
the
sommet
last
du mécanisme de suivi de sa mise en
summit
œuvre
of the mechanism of its
tenu à
implementation
Bujumbura
held in
en
Bujumbura in
2023,
2023,
nous avons
we
parcouru
have gone
en chemin
through
près d'embûches.
uh,
En effet,
a lot of
la
problems.
guerre est devenue
In
plus
fact, war became
dévastatrice
more
qu'auparavant.
devastating than
Le
before.
début de cette
The
année
beginning of this
2025
year, 2025,
est
was
marqué
marked
par
by
une situation
a
grave
grave situation
avec la
with
résurgence
the
de la guerre
resurgency
déclenchée par le
of war
M23
started by
soutenu par le
M23,
Rwanda.
supported by Rwanda.
La conquête
The
et
conquering
l'occupation des
and
territoires
occupation
congolais
of
à
Congolese
l'est,
territories in the east,
la prise de l'aéroport
and
de Goma
the
et de
occupation
Bukavu,
of the airport of
ainsi
Goma
que
and
le
Bukavu,
blocage
and
et
well
la
as
destruction des
blockade
infrastructures
and destruction of
ont
infrastructure
occasionné des
caused
conséquences
désastreuses
désastreuses,
consequences,
massacres,
massacres,
violences massives des
mass
droits de l'homme,
violations of human rights,
trafic des réfugiés et
refugees,
déplacés,
displaced people,
appauvrissement des
impoverishment of
populations,
populations,
anéantissement des
and
activités économiques, pillage,
jeopardizing economic
etc.
activities,
Une
looting, etc.
situation qui
Situation
va de
which
mal en pis
is changing
aussi
from bad
longtemps
to
que la
worse
guerre
for as
perdure.
long as
Les
the war
efforts régionaux et
continues.
internationaux
Regional and international
en
efforts
soutien au
in
gouvernement
support
congolais
to the
pour
Congolese
le
government
rétablissement
for
de
the
la paix
establishment of
n'ont
peace
pas donné des
have not
résultats
given any
satisfaisants.
satisfactory results. Have not
La
given
communauté
satisfactory results.
est-africaine, qui
African community,
pourtant
which
avait marqué
had
des avancées
marked some
significatives
steps
dans la recherche de la
in
solution
looking
pacifique,
for
s'est heurté
a
au
pacific
manque de
solution,
volonté du M23
found
d'entamer
problems
les
with the
premiers
lack of
pas
will of
vers le
M23.
rassemblement et le cantonnement des combattants.
And did not,
Moi-même, en tant que
was
président
unable
du
to
sommet des chefs
finish its
d'État
work.
de la
I
communauté
myself also, as
est-africaine
president of
d'alors,
the
j'ai rencontré
summit
à
of
maintes
the chief of
reprises
the head of
des
state
responsables
for the
du
community of East Africa,
M23 à
East Africa,
Bujumbura
I found
pour
that
chercher
I met so many
ensemble
times people
une issue
responsible for
favorable
M23 in Bujumbura
à toutes
to
les
look
parties au conflit.
together for a
Mais au
solution to
moment
put
où
an
on
end
allait
to
assister
conflict.
au
But
déclenchement du
when we are
processus
going
de
to
paix,
start on starting on
la guerre a
a peace
ressurgi jusqu'à ce jour.
process,
La force
the war continued
régionale a
all
alors
the time,
été obligée
and the regional force
plier
was
bagage,
obliged to leave the
descend
place,
sur place,
leaving the
l'Ouganda et
place,
le
Uganda and
Burundi qui
Burundi,
agissent
which
aux
are
côtés du
acting
gouvernement de la RDC
side by side with the
sous
government of the
l'égide
DRC,
des
with
accords
the
bilatéraux et
following
des phases
the bilateral agreements
En
and
plus de cela,
common defense.
j'ai
Apart
pris
from that,
l'initiative
I took the initiative
d'être à l'écoute
to,
des
to
communautés
listen to
congolaises
Congolese
en
communities
rencontrant leurs
by
chefs
meeting
coutumiers.
their
Parmi tant d'autres,
custom heads.
j'ai eu particulièrement
Among many others,
des
I
discussions
also
avec la
had
communauté de
discussions with the Nyamulenge
et nos
community,
échanges ont été
and our
fructueux
exchanges
car
were
même s'il y a quelquefois
fruitful because
une
even if
certaine
there are
résistance due
some
aux influences
hesitance
externes,
due to
une partie
external
non
influences,
négligeable de cette communauté
a significant
se
part of
reconnaît
that
congolais.
community
Je tiens
recognizes
ici à
itself as
féliciter
Congolese. I
notre
wish here
frère,
to
Son Excellence le
commend
Président Antoine
our
Félix
brother,
Tshisekedi
President Antoine
Tshilombo,
Felix Tshisekedi
qui a
Tshilombo,
concrétisé
who
sa
concretized
coopération
his
en les
understanding
intégrant
by
dans les
integrating
institutions
them
de l'État en
in,
tant que Congolais.
in state institutions.
Après le départ de
as
la force
Congolese.
régionale,
After the
les
departure
forces
of
de
the
la
regional
SADC
force,
sont venues
forces of the
épauler
SADC
les
came
forces
to
armées de
support
la République démocratique du Congo
army
pour
of
rétablir
the
la paix
DRC to
dans cette
establish peace
région.
in that region.
Mais suite
But
à
after
l'intervention des
the
forces de
intervention
défense
of
rwandaises aux côtés du
Rwandan armed
M23,
forces,
ces efforts
side by
ont
side
aussi
with
échoué.
M3 forces,
Aujourd'hui,
the efforts failed.
Le Nord Kivu
Today, North
et
Kivu
une partie du Sud
and a
Kivu
part of South
échappent
Kivu
au contrôle du
are
gouvernement
not in control
avec
of
toutes
the
les
community government with
conséquences
all
qui
the
en
consequences
découlent
which
quant à
come with
l'exécution
that
des missions
as regards
régaliennes
the
de l'État congolais. La population de cette
service
partie du
delivery to
territoire
the state of
erre
Congo.
comme des brebis
The population
sans
in this part
berger.
of the territory are just moving all over
Les
the place
efforts de
without
médiation dans les processus de Nairobi
services.
et de
The
Luanda
efforts of the mediation
semblent ne pas
efforts
apporter
in the
de
process
fruits
of
malgré
Nairobi
les
and
efforts
Rwanda
fournis par
seem
le
not to have
président angolais,
brought about any
son
fruits,
Excellence
despite the efforts
Joao Manuel
made by the
Lorenzo
president
et l'ancien
of
président
Angola,
kenyan, son
His
Excellence
Excellency Joao Manuel
Uhuru
Lorenzo,
Kenyatta.
and the former
Je
president of
voudrais
Kenya,
cependant
His
saluer
Excellency Uhuru
toutes les bonnes
Kenyatta. I'd wish to
initiatives
commend all the good
prises
initiatives
et les différents
undertaken
processus
and the different processes
en Afrique ou en
in
dehors
Africa
du
or outside
continent africain
the African
qui
continent,
contribuent
which contribute
encore à la
up
recherche
to now
des
in
solutions
the
par voie
search
négociée.
for solutions
Je
through
salue les
negotiation.
efforts
I
déployés
commend the
à
efforts
l'échelle
made
régionale,
at the regional level,
notamment par l'Union africaine,
particularly
la
by the African
communauté de
Union,
l'Afrique de
the East African
l'Est,
Community,
la communauté économique
the-
des États de l'Afrique centrale,
the
la
ECAS,
conférence internationale sur la région des Grands Lacs
the
et la communauté de
CIRGL,
développement de
and
l'Afrique
the
australe,
SADC,
ainsi que les
as well
efforts
as
consentis
efforts
par le secrétaire général de
made by the
l'Organisation
Secretary
des
General
Nations
of the
Unies
Organization of the
pour
Nations
rétablir la
in order to
paix et
re-establish
la
peace and
sécurité dans
security
l'Est de la
in the
République
eastern part
démocratique du
of the
Congo.
DRC.
Je salue
I commend
également
also
la
the
nomination
appointment
du groupe
of a group
d'éminents
of eminent
facilitateurs
facilitators
pour le
for the process
processus
of the East
et à
African
SADC,
Community SADC,
dont deux
of
femmes
whom we have
qui
two
appuient le
women who
médiateur
support
désigné
the
de
mediator
l'Union africaine,
appointed by the African
son
Union.
Excellence Faure
His ex-
Gnassingbé,
His Excellency
président
for
de la
Nyasimbe,
République
President
togolaise,
of the
et
Republic
a succédé
of Togo,
à son
having succeeded
Excellence
to His
Joao
Excellency
Manuel
John Manuel
Lorenzo,
Lorenzo,
président
President of the Republic
de
of
la
Angola,
République d'Angola, à qui nous
whom
adressons
we
encore
address
une
our
fois
gratitude
nos
for
remerciements
his remarkable
pour
work
son remarquable travail
accomplished
accompli dans le cadre
in
du
the framework
processus
of
de Luanda.
the Luanda process.
Excellences, Mesdames, Messieurs,
Excellencies, ladies
au
and
moment où
gentlemen,
je vous parle,
at
la
this
guerre
very
qui
moment,
se
as I
vit
talk
à
to you,
l'est de la
the
RDC
war taking place
a
now in
atteint
the east of
son
the DRC
paroxysme.
has reached its
Et si
paroxysm,
rien n'est fait,
and if
il
nothing is
risque
done,
non seulement
it will
de
not
s'étendre
only
dans les autres provinces de
extend
la
to other
RDC,
provinces of the
mais elle
DRC,
peut aussi
but can
embraser
also
certains pays de la
affect
sous-région.
other
En effet,
countries of the
les groupes
sub-region.
armés
In effect,
étrangers qui
the
sévissent dans
foreign
cette partie
armed
du
groups
territoire de la
which are
RDC,
in this part of the
profitant du
DRC,
soutien de certains
taking
pays
advantage
comme
of
le
the support
Rwanda,
of certain countries
sont
like
aux
Rwanda,
aguets pour
are
tirer
watching
profit de
to
cette
take
situation.
advantage of this situation.
J'ai eu l'occasion
I had
d'alerter la communauté
the
internationale et
chance to
régionale
alert the international
sur
community
le
and regional
danger
community
que
on the
présente
danger presented
l'élargissement
by
au quotidien de l'étendue du champ de bataille
the
pour la région.
extension
Non
of this
seulement
war in the region.
cela peut
Not only
provoquer
this can
un afflux
bring
de
about
réfugiés incontrôlables,
a big number of
mais cela
uncontrollable
présente
refugees,
une
but it
occasion
presents
pour les
a
criminels
chance for the
de
criminals
faciliter la circulation
facilitate
des armes dans les pays
arms
de la
proliferation
sous-région,
in the
ce qui risque de
sub-region,
créer
which
des tensions
may create
entre
tensions
certains pays.
between certain countries.
À cette occasion, je tiens à
Today,
saluer
I wish to commend
la réaction prompte
the quick
des
reaction
différents
of the
forums
different
internationaux,
international fora,
notamment la résolution
notably the resolution
2773 du
2773
Conseil de sécurité
of
des
the
Nations Unies,
Security Council of the
condamnant
United
avec
Nations,
fermeté
condemning
l'offensive menée
firmly
par le
the
M23 dans le
attacks
Sud Kivu,
and,
dans le Nord Kivu
executed
et
by
le Sud
M23
Kivu,
in the North Kivu
avec
and
le
South
soutien
Kivu,
de la force
with
de
the support
défense
of
rwandaise,
Rwandan
ainsi
armed
que la
forces,
prise
as
de
well as
contrôle
taking
de la ville
control
de Goma
of
et celle de
the
Bukavu.
city of Goma
Je
and
salue
Bukavu.
aussi
I also
la
commend
session du Conseil des droits de
the
l'homme,
session of
le sommet de la
the
CAC
Council of
et le
Human
sommet
Rights,
de l'Union
the
africaine,
summit of the
tous
ECAS
tenus en
and the African
février
Union Summit, which was
2025, qui ont
which was
tous
held in February
condamné
2025, which
les
all condemned
atrocités
the
commises
atrocities
et
committed
qui ont pris
and which
la
took
décision et formulé
decisions
des
and formulated
recommandations
recommendations
qui ont apporté
which
encore
led-
une contribution
which
significative
made a
en
significant
faveur
contribution
de la paix
in
de
the
la
favor
région.
of peace in the region.
Excellences, Mesdames,
Excellencies, ladies and
les
gentlemen,
obstacles rencontrés
the
ne
obstacles
pourraient
found
en aucun cas
could
nous
in no
empêcher
way
de
stop us
saluer les
from
réalisations
command
des deux dernières
the
années
registration
en
of
guise de
the-
bilan
in the 2
et
years
mise en
gone,
œuvre de l'accord cadre.
what we have so far
Les
achieved
consultations de
in
haut
this
niveau
framework.
que moi-même j'ai menées,
High-level constitution
d'abord à ma qualité
consultation,
de
which
président
I
de
also
la
participated in.
communauté est-africaine,
First of all,
alors
capacity
en
as
qualité
chair of the Eastern
de
Committee
président du
and also
mécanisme
as
de l'accord
the
cadre, les
chair
rapprochements
of
diplomatiques
the
entre certains pays,
Rome
l'organisation pacifique des élections en
diplomatic
RDC sont
consultations
autant de faits
between different
à
countries.
saluer dans nos pays.
Peaceful organization of
ailleurs,
elections and DRC
L'envoyé
should be
spécial du secrétaire général des Nations Unies pour la
should be
région du
commended.
Grand Lac, en
The
consultation
special envoy
ou
of the Secretary
conformément
General
à
of
nos
Nations
orientations
to the
et
region,
nos encouragements,
Greater region,
a
in
mené
consultation
autant d'initiatives et de contacts,
of the orientations and
notamment
encouragements we have in place,
aux
brought
États-Unis,
about
au
initiatives
Togo,
of
au
contact
Qatar,
in
avec
the
pour
USA,
objectif de
Togo,
contribuer
Qatar,
pour la paix
with the
dans la
objective of
région.
contributing to peace in
Je
the
voudrais
region. I
féliciter
wish
à la même
to
occasion
thank
les institutions
the
garantes de l'accord cadre,
guarantee
l'ONU, l'Union
institutions
africaine, la
of the
SADC
agreement,
et la
the UN,
CIRGL
the African Union, the
pour leur
SADC, and
remarquable
CIGLR
contribution en
for
vue
their
de la mise en
contribution
œuvre de l'accord.
intended to implement
Excellences, Mesdames,
the
Messieurs,
agreement.
au
Excellence,
cours du
ladies and
11e
gentlemen.
sommet
During the 11th
mécanisme
summit of
de suivi,
the
plusieurs recommandations
Rome,
et encouragements ont
many
été formulés.
recommendations and encouragements
En
were
effet,
made.
les
In
chefs
fact,
d'État et de
the heads of state
gouvernement
and
ont
heads of government
réaffirmé la
reaffirmed
pertinence de
the
l'accord cadre en
relevance
tant que
of
moyen de promouvoir la
the
paix
agreement
et une stabilité
as a means
durable
of
dans la
promoting
région.
peace
Et ont
and
demandé au
sustainable
comité
stability in the
d'appui
region,
technique
and
de
asked,
procéder
requested
à une
the
évaluation
Technical Support
indépendante,
Committee
franche
to
et
start
sincère
on
de la mise en
independent
œuvre
assessment and evaluation
en soulignant
as regards the
ses
implementation
forces
of
et
this
ses faiblesses
agreement
et
by
d'examiner
underlying its
comment
strong
les
points
pays
and weaknesses
signataires adhèrent à ses principes et à ses
and
engagements.
look at how
À
the
cet
signatory
effet,
countries are
c'est avec
adhering to
satisfaction
the principles
que je
and
me
its
félicite
commitments.
du travail
In fact,
accompli
it's
pour
with
la
satisfaction
revitalisation de l'accord
that
cadre
I
dont le document assorti d'un
commend the
plan
work
d'action
accomplished
va vous
as
être
regards the
présenté.
revitalization of
Ce
the
travail a
agreement,
été un
whose
résultat de plusieurs
document will be
étapes,
presented to you. This
notamment
work
une
has
retraite
been a result of
évaluative des pays
several
signataires,
steps and
des institutions garantes et d'autres
phases,
partenaires
guarantee institutions
organisées
and
à
partners
Durban, en Afrique
organized
du
in
Sud,
Dubai and in Africa and
en
South Africa
octobre
in
et
October and
novembre
November
2023,
2023,
suivi
followed
de
by
plusieurs
a number
réunions
of
du comité
meetings
d'appui
of
technique
the Technical
et
Support
de la
Committee
session
and of the
ministérielle
Imperial
qui a eu
Session
lieu
which took
hier
place
ici à
yesterday
Kampala.
here in Uganda,
De même,
in Kampala.
le communiqué
The
final
same
du
way,
11e
the
sommet du mécanisme de
communique
suivi
of the
a mis en
11th
exergue
summit
le
of the
soutien
Rome
à la pleine participation
emphasized
des
the
femmes
support
et des
to
jeunes à la prévention
full
des conflits,
participation of
à la
women and the
consolidation de
youth
la paix
in the prevention
et
of
au
conflict,
dialogue politique
consolidation
dans la
of peace,
région,
and
y compris
political
le
dialogue in the
processus
region,
de Nairobi et
including
de Rwanda.
the process of Nairobi and
Les
of Rwanda.
encouragements ont
Encouragements
été formulés à
encouragements
l'endroit de la
were
République du
addressed
Burundi
to the
en
Republic of
tant
Burundi
que
as well
en
as
tant que président central du mécanisme régional de
new chair
a
of
organisé une plateforme
the
de
mechanism
dialogue
to organize
avec les
a
femmes
dialogue platform
et les jeunes
with
de la
women
région
and the youth in the region
afin
in order
de leur
to
permettre
enable
de
them to contribute
contribuer
to
aux
regional
efforts
efforts
régionaux de paix.
intended to bring about
Je
peace.
suis heureux
I am
de
happy
vous annoncer
to
que le
announce to
dialogue
you that
continental et
connect dialogue and
intergénérationnel sur la
dialogue
jeunesse,
on
la
the
paix et la
youth,
sécurité
peace and
a été
security
couplé
was
au forum des
conjugated,
jeunes des pays
was talked about
signataires
in
de
the
l'accord
forum
cadre
of
et s'est
the
tenu
youth
à
from
Bujumbura au Burundi
signatory countries
du 14
of
au
the
16 décembre 2023.
agreement.
J'ai moi-même,
It was
en ma
held in
qualité
Bujumbura
de
and Burundi on
président
the
de l'exercice du
14th of
mécanisme
December
régional de
2023.
suivi
I myself,
et champion de
as
l'Union
chair
africaine
of
pour la
the
jeunesse,
mechanism
paix
and
et
champion
sécurité, ouvert les
of the African
travaux
Union
et
for
prodigué des
the youth
conseils et
agenda on peace and
orientations à la
security,
jeunesse
opened
conformément
the
à
deliberations
l'agenda 2063
in
de l'Union
conformity
africaine
with the
et à la
agenda of
résolution
2063 of the
2250
African
du
Union
Conseil de
and the
sécurité
resolution
des Nations Unies,
2250
avec
of the
des
Security
témoignages
Council of
concernant
19
les
Nations
actions louables
with
par ou en faveur de la jeunesse. De
testimony
même, les
regarding
activités du Forum régional
actions
des femmes des
in
pays
favor
membres du
and
mécanisme
by the
régional
youth.
de suivi
The same
des
activities
pays
of the
signataires
regional forum
de
of
l'accord
women
cadre pour la paix,
of
la
the
sécurité
member
et la
countries
coopération
of the Rome
pour la RDC et la région
and the
ont eu
countries
lieu le
signatory
22
to the
et 23
agreement
août
for peace,
2024
security and
à
cooperation
Bujumbura sur le
took place
thème
on the 22nd and
promouvoir le
23
programme
August 24,
régional pour la paix,
whose theme
la
was
sécurité
promote
et la coopération économique
peace and
pour prévention, la protection
peace,
et le
regional peace
relèvement.
program,
J'ai
security and
également
cooperation.
moi-même
I
procédé
myself also
à l'ouverture des travaux
was
soulignant le rôle
officiated
indispensable des
the
femmes
opening
dans
of
la
this deliberation,
prévention
and,
et la résolution
underscoring
des
the role
conflits,
of
encourageant
women
les chefs d'État
in the
et
prevention
de gouvernement
and
des pays
resolution of conflicts. I
signataires de
encourage
l'accord cadre
the heads of state
de
and of
concentrer
government
les efforts
signatory
visant à
to
prendre
this
en compte
agreement
la voix de
to
la
concentrate
femme,
on the efforts
notamment
intended to
en,
take in account women's voice and
en exergue l'impact des
showing the
conflits sur les
importance
femmes
of the impact
et la nécessité de leur
of
pleine
women
participation
and their
au
role
processus
in
de paix et
resolving
de
conflicts,
sécurité, tout en encourageant les femmes
encouraging
à
women
développer
therefore to develop
des stratégies efficaces pour construire
efficient
une paix
strategies
durable.
to build
Toujours dans le cadre de la mise
sustainable
en
peace.
œuvre des décisions et recommandations
In
du
the
11e
framework of
sommet du mécanisme régional de
implementing
suivi de
the,
l'accord cadre,
decisions
la
and
cellule
recommendations of
opérationnelle
11th
sur les
Summit,
mesures non militaires a
the
été
operation
However, in 2024, nomination of Fonya Simbe, President of Togo, as an African Union mediator in the conflict in the eastern part of the DRC, as well as the nomination of two eminent women as part of the facilitators group for the SADC community process. And these are important steps in the recognition and institutionalization of leadership and participation of women in the different peace processes, and indeed is an opportunity to guarantee that the voice of women is heard by everybody. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, and heads of state and government, given the increase of these crises and in conformity with the mentioned instruments, women, youth, and others from the Democratic Republic of Congo are calling for the full implementation of Resolution 723 in the zones that are currently occupied, effective participation of different women's organizations, youth organizations in the process of the pacification of the eastern part of the DRC. We call for the upholding of international human rights law, especially by allowing access to the airports and by creating a humanitarian corridor for emergency aid to vulnerable people, and bring an end to attacks against civilians and all forms of sexual violence that civilians are suffering, and making sure that there is no suffering of all these victims. Regarding the ongoing peace processes, let's encourage all the stakeholders to uphold and implement their commitments for the inclusion of women and youth, and especially taking into account the gender perspective in the processes of mediation, negotiation, and make sure that agreements, especially even in the different mechanisms of the framework agreement, are followed. We call all parties to actively participate ongoing mediation initiatives and make sure that there is urgent conclusion of these. We welcome, of course, the initiative of the Women, Peace and Security agenda, and we call for the support of all women initiatives towards peace and making sure that we build confidence, especially in the communities. We ask for the imposition of an embargo on the export of minerals from DRC, making sure that we are cutting all sorts of funding to armed groups. We thank you for the consideration that you have given to this call and for your kind attention. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Now invite the European Union Special Representative for the Great Lakes region deliver a statement on behalf of the International Contact Group on the Great Lakes region. Ambassador Johan Bogstam, the floor is yours.
Your Excellency President Museveni, Your Excellency President Ndayishimiye, Your Excellencies Heads of State and Government, distinguished members of the Regional Oversight Mechanism and guarantors, Excellencies, distinguished guests. I deliver this speech on behalf of the International Contact Group for the Great Lakes region, which includes Belgium, Denmark, the European Union, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Sweden, Switzerland, the United Kingdom, the United States of America, chaired by Germany. On behalf of the International Contact Group, I thank you for the opportunity to speak at this important meeting. This meeting takes place at a crucial time for the peoples of the Great Lakes region, notably in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, not least given the disastrous humanitarian situation in many places in North and South Kivu and in Ituri, the consequences that I have witnessed during my recent missions to the region. Today, I would like to convey three main messages. First, the International Contact Group stands firmly behind the spirit and the objectives of the Framework Agreement. It is not without reason that the International Contact Group in February 2025 called in its public statement on all parties in the region of the Great Lakes to, I quote, avoid military escalation, engage seriously in a political peace process, address the root causes of the conflict, and work towards revitalizing the 2013 Peace, Security and Cooperation Framework for the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the region, unquote. A comprehensive political agreement implemented by all parties is the only way to achieve a sustainable solution. And a sustainable solution can only be found if the principles of sovereignty, independence, unity, and territorial integrity are respected by all parties involved, and if each party fulfills the obligations it subscribed to by signing the Peace, Security, and Cooperation Framework 12 years ago. Therefore, and this is my second point, the International Contact Group fully supports the current political processes aiming at a sustainable solution in Eastern DRC and the Great Lakes region on the basis of the relevant African Union and United Nations Security Council resolutions, including Security Council Resolution 2773. We commend the tremendous engagement by the President of Angola, João Lourenço, and former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the groundwork that they laid with the Luanda and Nairobi processes, which will now be continued under the leadership of President Faure Gnassingbé of Togo, mandated by the African Union, together with 5 distinguished facilitators. We also commend that the guiding principles of United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace, and security has been honored in the composition of the group of facilitators. This is especially relevant in a context where acts of sexual violence are used as weapons of war, as was already mentioned in the Peace and Security and Cooperation Framework 12 years ago. We welcome the important facilitating role of the State of Qatar and the breakthrough and the momentum achieved by the mediation of the United States, which led to the signing of the Declaration of Principles in Washington, D.C. on April 25 between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. The members of the International Contact Group stand ready to support a coordinated approach of these processes that ultimately should lead to the revitalization of the 2013 Peace and Security and Cooperation Framework and its implementation. Third, the litmus test for our diplomatic endeavors must be the situation on the ground. Without a ceasefire and without withdrawal of foreign troops violating the territorial integrity, statements will remain lip service. Humanitarian access has to be ensured without any delay or conditions. All parties have the obligation to respect international humanitarian law. Therefore, the International Contact Group urges once again the parties to implement the immediate and unconditional ceasefire and call on all armed groups, including those supported by foreign actors, to lay down their arms and continue dialogue to put an end to the violence and protect civilian populations. I would like to convey I would like to conclude by conveying my best wishes to Uganda, President Museveni as future chair of the PSC framework, to steer the process at this crucial time, as well as thanking His Excellency President Ndayishimiye. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for those remarks. Your Excellency, with your permission, I now would like to invite the Executive Director of ICGLR to deliver his remarks as a representative of one of the grantor institutions. Ambassador Joao Kaholo.
Your Excellency, YOWERI Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, and our gracious host, Your Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye, President of the Republic of Burundi, and outgoing Chair of the Rome, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers of Foreign Affairs, and all other ministers, signatory states here present. Your Excellency, the UN Special Envoy to the Great Lakes, Your Excellency, the High Authority of the African Union Commission to the Great Lakes, representatives of guarantor institutions, members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is an immense honor and gratitude to stand before you today at the 12th high-level meeting of the Regional Oversight Mechanism for the Peace, Security and Cooperation Framework for the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the region. We gather here in Entebbe, Uganda, united by our commitment to our region's peace, security, and prosperity. I extend my congratulations to you, Your Excellency, and through you, the government of the Republic of Uganda and the United Nations Office of the Special Envoy for organizing this important summit. Such gatherings provide a vital platform for sharing information and engaging in dialogue about the pressing crises in the Great Lakes region. Today, we have the opportunity to discuss recent developments and ongoing peace efforts, and how signatory countries to the Peace, Security, and Cooperation Framework can further support these initiatives. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as we address the complex conflict situation and the urgent humanitarian crises facing the Great Lakes region and the GRC in particular, we must acknowledge the resilience of our people who endure these challenges day by day. It is our collective responsibility to listen to their voices, respond to their needs, and work tirelessly to restore stability, peace, and hope for all citizens. Excellencies, the security challenges facing our region demand our most urgent and collective attention. The ongoing M23 conflict in Eastern DRC represents more than a localized insurgency. It poses a critical threat to regional stability and risks undermining decades of peace-building efforts. The ICGLR therefore calls upon the M23 to immediately and unconditionally stop its offensive and refrain from creating parallel state institutions in the Eastern DRC. We further call upon all armed groups operating in the Eastern DRC, such as the FDLR, ADF, Red Tabara, and DECO, to lay down their arms and to adhere to ongoing peace initiatives under the coordination of the African Union. Meanwhile, the protracted conflicts in the Sudan and South Sudan continue to erode our collective security architecture, creating humanitarian crises that threaten the very fabric of our regional and cooperation framework. We call upon the RSF armed militia to immediately lay down their arms, cease hostilities, and engage with all other Sudanese parties in meaningful dialogue towards achieving durable peace for the benefit of the people of the Sudan. We also recommend the joint efforts of the East African Community, the Southern African Development Community, and other initiatives to address these pressing situations. These actions provide a beacon of hope. Our collective response must prioritize dialogue, mutual understanding, and collaborative conflict resolution. We stand at a critical juncture where our response will determine the future trajectory of peace and stability in the Great Lakes region. Our collective challenge is to transform these security threats from sources of division into opportunities for deeper regional and continental cooperation, integration, and development. Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, today we emphasize the critical importance of the women, peace, and security agenda. Empowering women and their active participation in peace-building efforts is essential. Women possess unique perspectives and solutions that can lead to more sustainable and inclusive peace processes. In our ongoing commitment to advancing the women, peace, and security agenda, the ICGLR has undertaken significant strategic steps. In 2023, we launched the first ever Regional Gender Barometer, a groundbreaking tool that systematically tracks and measures the progress of gender equality across the region and in our member states. This innovative initiative provides a framework for assessing women's participation in political, economic, and security decision-making processes. Complementing this effort, we are currently incorporating local perspectives into the Women, Peace and Security Agenda project. This project focuses on ensuring women's participation, protection, and empowerment in peace and security efforts within the Great Lakes region, as we actively support the implementation of the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 and related resolutions, recognizing women's vital role in conflict prevention, resolution, and peace building. We have also been developing a multilingual lexicon for detecting and mitigating gender hate speech across our region. This initiative addresses the growing challenge of digital violence that threatens women's participation in public and political life. In addition, following the adoption of the gender-responsive mediation strategy by our esteemed member states, the ICGLR has taken significant steps to empower women's groups and distinguished individuals within the region as insider mediators. Our approach prioritizes enhancing mediation capacities and actively involving local stakeholders, including religious and community leaders, in our mediation initiatives. These initiatives underscore our unwavering commitment to addressing the persistent challenges faced by women in our region. While we have made progress, significant barriers remain in participation, prevention, protection, and recovery. Sexual violence continues to be used as a weapon of conflict, and women remain underrepresented in key decision-making roles. ICGLR continues to play a crucial role in addressing the illegal exploitation of natural resources, particularly minerals within the Great Lakes region. It achieves this by facilitating regional initiatives, such as the Regional Initiative on the Fight Against the Illegal Exploitation of Natural Resources, which was approved by Your Excellency's Heads of State and Government in Lusaka 2010. It focuses on certifying trade in conflict-free minerals and promoting responsible supply chains. We encourage member states to adopt measures that hold legal entities accountable for participating in illegal mineral exploitation. As a region, we need to extend accountability beyond individual perspectives. Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot overlook the significant role of the guarantor institutions of the peace, security, and cooperation framework must play. Together, we must strengthen these partnerships to tackle the root causes of conflict collaboratively and enhance our regional relations. The road towards lasting stability and peace in our region requires mutual trust, respect, and commitment to understanding and addressing the concerns of our neighbors. In our discussions today, Your Excellencies, you will also concentrate on adopting strategies to revitalize the PSC framework. This framework is not merely a document, but a promise of collaboration and a call to action. As we consider the action plan for revitalization, let us approach it with the spirit of Ubuntu and a shared vision for a brighter future, recognizing that instability in one country is instability everywhere. Furthermore, the ICGLR's role remains pivotal in fostering mutual trust and respect within the region. The ICGLR requires your unwavering support, Your Excellencies, as we collaborate to navigate the complexities of our regional landscape. Let us harness the ICGLR's potential to facilitate dialogue, create synergies, and implement effective strategies that will promote stability and development across the region. Much needs to be accomplished to achieve this, but foremost is the necessity of convening ICGLR statutory meetings, such as this one. Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as you already know, embarking on discussions outlined in your agenda, and more importantly, on the path to peace, is never straightforward nor simple. It requires patience, persistent effort, and the courage to make difficult decisions for the greater good. Collectively, we possess the strength to overcome the challenges we face as a region and to build a peaceful and prosperous future for our peoples. In closing, Your Excellencies, I urge all of us to reaffirm our commitment to peace and security in the Great Lakes region. Let us seize this opportunity to collaborate and, above all, to act, turning our commitments into tangible actions that will create real change for the people we serve. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Joao. Your Excellency, with your permission, may I now invite the representative of the chairperson of the African Union Commission, which is one of the guarantor institutions. And to do that is Mr. Sgei Mubarak Ahmed. The floor is yours.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على النبي الكريم. Son Excellence YOWERI Kaguta Museveni, Président de la République de l'Ouganda. Son Excellence Evariste Ndayishimiye, Président de la République du Burundi. Leurs Excellences, Messieurs les Présidents et chefs des délégations du pays signataires de l'accord cadre d'Addis Abeba.
The signatories of the
Excellences, chers collègues,
framework agreement,
des institutions
Excellencies,
notamment
colleagues
les
from
Nations
the
Unies,
guarantor institutions,
la SADC,
notably the
la
United Nations, SADC,
Excellences, les membres du comité
ICGLR,
d'appui technique,
Excellency, members of the Technical Support
Mesdames et
Committee,
messieurs,
distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed.
au nom de son Excellence
On behalf of His Excellency Mahmoud Ali
président de la
Yusuf,
Commission de l'Union
President
africaine,
of the African Union
que je
Commission,
représente à cette
who I am
12e réunion de
representing
Rome,
at this
en
12th
mon nom propre,
Rome meeting, and
je
on my own
voudrais tout
behalf,
d'abord
I would
vous
wish,
remercier,
first of all, to
Excellence,
thank
Monsieur
you,
le Président,
Your Excellency,
YOWERI Museveni,
Your
à travers
Museveni,
vous,
and
le
through you,
gouvernement et le peuple
the
ougandais,
government and the
pour
people of
l'invitation
Uganda
à prendre part à
for the
ces
invitation
assises
to participate
et pour l'accueil
in this
chaleureux
meeting, and
et
for the warm
l'hospitalité
welcome as well
qui
as
nous
the
sont accordés
hospitality
depuis notre
that
arrivée
was
dans ce beau pays,
extended to my
la perle de
delegation
l'Afrique.
from the time we arrived in the Pearl of
Ensuite,
Africa.
je voudrais saluer les
I would
efforts,
also wish to commend
les
the
actes du
efforts
président sortant, son
of
Excellence,
the outgoing and
champion de
Evariste
l'Union
Ndayishimiye,
africaine
champion
pour les
of
questions
the African
jeunesse,
Union
paix et
for
sécurité
youth,
depuis
peace
le 11e
and
Rome
security
tenu à
from the
Bujumbura,
11th
au Burundi,
Rome meeting in
consacré à
Bujumbura
la
in Burundi that was
revitalisation de l'accord
concentrated
cadre
on the
pour la
revitalization
RDC
of
et la
the
région.
framework agreement
C'est
for
ici
the DRC and
le
the
lieu de
region. It
saluer
is
la
here
qualité des contributions
where we
des
need
autres
to
pays signataires de l'accord cadre,
commend and welcome
grâce
the
auquel
efforts of
nous
all
avons
those that have
enfin
participated,
élaboré
and
un plan d'action
through those efforts
pour
we
la
have been able to come up
revitalisation de
with a plan
l'accord
of
cadre,
action for the
conformément à la
revitalization
décision
of the framework
de la
agreement
1140e
after
réunion du Conseil
the
de paix
decision
et de
of
sécurité de l'Union
the
africaine
Peace and Security
tenue à Addis
Council
Abeba
of the
le
African
17
Union
février
in
2023,
Addis Abeba
10 ans
in
après la signature de cet accord cadre
2023,
en
10 years
2013.
after the signing of this
En
framework
effet,
agreement in
l'Union africaine se
2013.
réjouit des conclusions du
The
sommet
African Union
extraordinaire conjoint EAC
welcomed
SADC
the
qui a permis la mise en
conclusions of the
place
meetings between
d'un panel de
the
facilitation pour
EAC, SADC,
aligner et
and
renforcer
Sierra that have led
le
to
processus de
the
Luanda et celui
reinforcing
de
of the
Nairobi.
Luanda process and the Nairobi
C'est ainsi que
process. It is
l'Union africaine a également
through
désigné
this that
son
the African
Excellence
Union
Fort
designated
Gnassingbé du Togo
His Excellency
comme
for
médiateur après le
Gnassingbé
président
of Togo as a
João
mediator
Lourenço de l'Angola
after the efforts of
dans
Joao
le but
Lourenço
de
of
fusionner
Angola, with
le
the
processus
objective
de
of
Luanda et celui de Nairobi
merging the Luanda
afin
and
de
Nairobi
s'attaquer
processes
aux causes profondes
in order
des
to
conflits récurrents
address
dans
the
l'est de
root
la
causes
RDC
of
et
the
dans d'autres
conflict
pays de la
in
région.
DRC and in the other
En
countries
plus
of the
de ces
region.
initiatives africaines,
Beyond these
nous
African
avons également
initiatives,
des initiatives
we
de
have
Doha, au Qatar,
the
et de ceux
Doha,
de Washington,
Qatar initiatives
aux
and
USA,
that of
qui sont en
Washington
cours
in the United States of America that
après
are
la
ongoing
rencontre entre le
after
médiateur
the meeting between
et
the
le panel du
mediator
facilitateur
and
de Togo
the
le 17 mai
facilitators panel
2025.
in Togo on the
Il a été
7th of May
convenu la
this
répartition
year.
des portefeuilles
We
comme suit.
agreed to
Les questions
share out
militaires
this
avec
work
son
as
excellence
follows. Military issues with Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, dialogue with armed groups, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, economic regional cooperation, Excellence Mashishi Mokawertzi is supposed to handle that, reconciliation involving women, youth and civil society. Society, to Excellency Catherine Samba-Panza, and then humanitarian issues, Excellency Charles Walkers would handle. After your decision, 16th decision, and in African Solidarity from October 2024, my colleague Binet Adjek, Special Envoy of the African Union on Women, Peace and Security, we organized in Luanda in November a regional forum for women leaders through His Excellency Joao Lorenzo, mediator in this process. This high-level forum was an occasion to mobilize women leaders from the continent, especially former heads of state, ministers, researchers, civil society